So, welcome to our 16th of the 17 Lioness of Light Oracle Within live Zoom journeys that we have been journeying with since the 26th of August, and so close now to this culmination of 2020 and the initiation that we have all been journeying and are still experiencing on so many levels, and acknowledging, the great suffering that many are experiencing and have experienced through this time, as well as the unexpected gossamer gifts and blessings that we have also, many of us, experienced, the weaving of all, the full spectrum through this time with such intensity, amplification, acceleration. It has truly been extraordinary, and in many ways, for so many of us, deeply exhausting. And yet we are here. We are holding, being present and surrendering, which is an active principle, surrendering to this time and to the deeper aspects of our own being, spirit embodied in matter, through this time, through all time that we are here as embodied beings of light, one with source, one with all, one with creation. And so today is Sovereignty in Union, 13th Sun, the oracle of this that we are going to explore. There's so much, as there has been with each of them. These are the 17 key oracles that we are exploring of the 52 that are within the Lioness of Light Oracle divination deck. However, the 17 are like, as I've spoken at the beginning, as if the major arcanum of the traditional tarot. We could look at it in that way, though this is not a traditional tarot. So I wanted to open, though, unexpectedly. I had a dream this morning that I emerged from that has prompted me to also share something else that actually came through the channeled experience of the next round after this one that inspired the painting and the oracle Sovereignty in Union. So I feel to move in and share that with you, but also to again note that this 16th oracle happens to fall on a date today, the 9th of December 2020, that reduces to the number 16. So another beautiful play there of number synchronicity. And also I discovered when I went back to look at the date of the channeled experience that inspired this oracle and the painting, it occurred on, it was the 13th session. And again, we have that number of the divine feminine through the number and the vibration of 13, which is also about birth, death, rebirth. It's the number of transformation. So again, how appropriate that this is in terms of the energetic, the overall impetus of the awakening of consciousness to the re-enlivening of the divine feminine. So blessings to this, and indeed that particular channeling occurred in December of last year. So it's almost 1 year since the channeling and the bringing forth of the painting and the oracle. And here we sit today exploring the energetic, the imprint, the radiance within this. But first to the dream that I awoke with, which ties in to all of this at this time, where we have touched on before about our moving through the photon belt, the earth, our whole solar system, including ourselves and all of nature, receiving all this cosmic light, cosmic energy of such extra intensity. And it keeps coming up again and again. It is not simply an abstract, symbolic, New Age concept. It is science. This is part of what's happening. Even our DNA, aspects of our DNA are being awakened, enlivened. It is happening to the plants, within the soil, everything. It is science, it is physiology. So in this dream, though, that I woke with this morning, it was daylight, and I was seeing the golden light shimmering down, radiating down, beautiful, almost like the most minuscule flakes of pure gold shimmering down from the skies, from the celestial realms. It was absolutely beautiful. And as I looked up, I could also see in the distance, again, even though it was daylight, small constellations of stars. And these stars were actually in a movement, you might say, of birthing and also dying into new rebirth. Some of the stars were kind of like falling stars, then exploding, like the most gentle fireworks. And there was some sense that this is also part of the releasing, the dispersing, the activation, the disbursement of this golden light. That is a quality, that is a physical matter that is both within our earth, within the quartz crystal, and also that is literally shimmering down through our solar system, from the sun, behind the sun, the celestial realms, that we are receiving now, that we are being touched by, literally right through. So I just give that to you because then it prompted me to have a look at the channeled material that came after this one, and I feel to share it because of the nature of this time, the 21st of December, the solstice, as we know, this what is considered through the astrology quite a profound activation point for this shift into the Aquarian age, the age of Aquarius, Leo. So I will just share that briefly with you. I feel compelled to do so before we move specifically more into sovereignty in union, but it's all connected, it's all woven. So I'm only just going to read a couple of excerpts of what was something like 15 pages of spoken material. I'm brought into this state through the impulse of the White Lady upon the white crystal beneath the pyramid, which is the mountain. And I ask, is she connected to the streaming of divine, feminine, pure light, one light, that is the eighth sister? And this is the response. Beneath the mountain, and it is she, for her body is within the crystal, and this is so. She is a transmitter of beginnings, of the celestial pathway through from the Pleiades. And so this pathway of electromagnetic energy of the celestial realms was once united across the band, Egypt, the continent of Australia, two tectonic plates, perhaps you might say like conjoined twins. And so it is one and the same. The pyramids are one in their different forms, whether perceived as man-made or that nature has made. They are one template birthed for specific purpose, yes. And so, as she awakens at this time, the eighth star sister, and begins to emit her light, many will feel it, many will see it, many will know it. Wherever you are upon this planet, her presence, her truth of light is awakening. This is part of the grand restoration and reawakens a grid of light that is like a tracking pathway back. You might like to visualize a great sparkling net. of infinite diamonds, each connected by a gossamer thread. And as the eighth sister awakens and begins her ascent, as we have spoken through the White Lady, previously contexted within the lands of Egypt, we are now speaking of her ascension and birthing and co-creation upon this continent through which this body exists at this time, Australia, once Gondwana land and once before that Alcharinga. There is the connection, and it is true. It is an ancient future grid that hath existed before time and yet within time, and is enlivening, quickening, as we have spoken previously, with the waters breaking. For this is the time when the waters break that herald the birthing, opening of the diamond body. And so it goes. I wanted to share this with you because of what is awakening, activating now. And however we might experience this, feel it, relate to it. And as I always say, what I share with you is just one way, as I speak of entering the realms of the poetic, of sharing this distilled essence of what I have experienced to share with you. So it is for each of us to discern, to turn over, to touch, to taste, to imbibe whatever feels and resonates for each of us. There is no one truth. We are each vessels, conduits of livingness, of living truth. Aho. And so, moving into sovereignty in union, 13th sun. So here again, we have the 13. And at the time, I didn't understand at all the number 13. Believe it or not, as naive as I can be sometimes, I didn't consciously know or have a sense that it was so connected to the divine feminine. And indeed, the birth, death, rebirth, transformation energy, this turning of the cycle that we are now literally at this moment of gateway into. So the 13th sun and the sovereignty in union, the coming together of the divine feminine with the sacred masculine as pure energies, energies of creation, however it is that we relate to and understand and experience through our visceral nature, through every aspect of our being, what these energies are as principles. And the soul of feminine, the 13th sun, this activation for me, as I've shared, and through the lioness of light, the soul of feminine returned. It is the active principle of the ancient divine feminine, reawakening, rebirthing at this time, literally calling herself forth through Gaia, through each of us that are part of Gaia. We are of this body, and this body is of the celestial realms. So it is the coming together into union, the field of unity within ourselves and our own personal story, our soul story, our emotional body, all those aspects within ourself that we have been exploring, that we do not cast aside, that we do not dismiss, that we do not diminish, that we hold and welcome as sacred aspects of our being, and we find a place for, we find the way to navigate the wholeness of that which we are. And so in relation to sovereignty in union and the painting as the two figures of the sacred masculine and the divine feminine joining hands together, coming into oneness, we can each reflect and experience this in whichever way you feel, whether it might be the disparate aspects of the self, the unknown aspects of the self, the aspects of the deep divine self that we have not yet felt we've been able to embody, that we see as separate from ourselves or only within others, only within things outside of ourselves. But now is the time to gather this unto ourselves, to experience the sacred marriage, which is an ongoing journey, an unfoldment, a practice, a surrender, an allowing, and yet it is active. And so through this beautiful sacred marriage that is of unity, union within, it is therefore then union and the unity consciousness of the collective, where we are each our own unique beings with our own unique story, with our own unique sacred mystery, and yet in awareness, consciousness of oneness with all. And for this is what changes our world, both the immediate circle of our life and then as the spirals ripple out to all. And we will reshape this world and we will gift this to those who come after us through the imprint of our consciousness, let alone anything else and any other way that we have walked in the world. So even when we may feel as if, well, what does it matter if it's just me within my own world, within my own private realm? It is of great significance. It is of great significance. Honor this and know this and be the gift that you are. So I'd like to just read and share with you through this way before we move into our own meditation experience of this. Just a small excerpt from the original channeled experience, session 13 on the 27th of December 2019, that Valerie Barrow actually gave the title The Golden One. And I'm just going to read a couple of excerpts that speak to this. And there was the quality of light, a golden iridescence, restfulness, quiet. And I belong to this hallowed ground, and yet I am not of it. And she speaks about the water, the divine waters that are showering down into the body and around the body of this planet, and that we must drink in this radiance of living light, a quality of cleansing, blessing, restoration. That these waters, even if we cannot see with our eyes, are a radiance, unceasingly shimmering down, bathing our planet. She, Gaia, the earth, is absorbing it into her body, and this is for us also to absorb the living waters of living light into our bodies that come from through the Pleiades and beyond, the celestial spheres, the source behind the sun, beyond the sun. This is a great gift that is being offered to us now, alongside what we may also see and feel and know as a great barrenness, the dryness, the fires. And yet there is this unceasing showering of radiant liquid light, crystalline waters that we are each able to drink from deep into our cells, into every cell and atom of our bodies. And she spoke of the waters breaking. And what does this mean when the waters break? This is the new life entering, the rebirth that is upon us now, for all creatures, all of life, to take in this journey of restoration and healing. And she spoke of the bees and their sacred role as the holders of gold. They are the living gold incarnate, manifest on this planet with such a sacred role and task that they fulfill, the bees of gold. And the gold that flows through our hearts, the energy of gold, the pure light, the one light. And she said, do not fear, for all is as decreed. I could feel the resonance through my body and my heart chamber, and it provided such healing, like a sealing in of the healing state that I had been transported to, the sacred marriage of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the return to oneness, and yet both sovereign unto themselves, unto one self. And this gold, again, that is reflected through the 13th sun, through the solar light of the divine feminine. And in the painting, you might notice that behind the female are the beehives. This is the sacred geometry and the shape and the teachings of the bees that the female is connected to. And behind the masculine figure are the more pyramid-shaped structures. So these shapes, this geometry is also part of the experience of these energies within ourselves, what that means for us, how we experience those energies, those geometries, those shapes, and all that is connected to them within ourselves. Ho. And so now to the essence. Through the rebirth of the light of the solar feminine within, the sacred feminine and sacred masculine walk and exist as one once more. Having healed and made whole their division, the creative forces come together. Acknowledging sovereignty of difference, there is rejoicing in their union, and love holds all once more. Voice of Spirit. I walk upon this hallowed ground, so I may be led back to oneness. All that has come before and all that is ahead is this. Of the sun behind the sun is the gold I am made of, a living quality that cannot be corrupted nor contaminated. It moves through me, it moves through all. Its nature is love. Seamlessly it gathers all unto itself, melting into divine union the disparate parts. Resolved in forgiveness and compassion, we reach out our hands and walk together. The way is shown. Counsel. Sovereignty in union, 13th sun, is the sacred marriage within of self and other. Initiated and enacted through the love that is seeking to bring all back into union through the heart, what has been divided becomes whole. Over and over in countless forms and ways, the matter of the path of duality and separation provides us experience of the other. The sacred task of this journey is to come to recognition that we are each a star seed of consciousness that is ultimately one, a unique spark of source seeking to know itself in the dance of creation. The way is found through first accepting and embracing the seemingly disparate parts of the self, honoring and gathering them into a wholeness that allows for polarity, complexity, and the lived history of our own story. When we are able to acknowledge every aspect of ourself, both the shadow and the light, the beautiful, and what we may feel is imperfect or flawed, we are more greatly able to embody the uniqueness of our own meaning and purpose. Letting go of comparison, judgment, shame, and the need for approval from persons or an outer world, often not able to give it, we are liberated to claim the originality, depth, and richness of our own being. Through the acceptance and self-forgiveness that flows from this, we carry, imprinted and etched into every corner of our being, the story of everything we have ever journeyed, but find ourselves free from the experience of our past as our identity. As this identification releases, we are able to choose pathways that reflect and support the greater vastness of our divine being. having lived through the setting and rising of countless suns and the manifold faces of what it is to be human, you have arrived at this place of claiming unity from within. This casts in you the capacity to be fully present, to witness and with full consciousness bear the sorrow and the great ecstasy of existence, both your own and that which is held within every person and all of nature. Do not be afraid to hold and shine the light of your sovereignty in union. Walk forward, knowing that all those who have gone before you are standing behind you, and all those who are to come after you will find courage in the path you tread. This is a time for celebration and deep reverence as you acknowledge what it has taken for you to stay with the truth of your heart through all the manifold challenges and experiences you have already borne. The 13th sun behind the couple signifies the rising of a new cycle in your life. It is both rising and setting at once, indicating completion of the past and the birth of the new. There is a timelessness that ultimately governs the evolutionary journey you are on as you embrace your sovereignty in union and walk forward, knowing there is no greater gift you can give yourself or others. And so now we will move into our meditation journey, into the presence of your sovereignty in union within. So taking a nice deep breath in and letting it go as if with a sigh, beginning to move into your sense of physical presence as you are seated or perhaps laying down, the weight of your body being held by the ground beneath you, by Gaia, and awareness of the celestial realms that are as if the space, the very space within the cells of your body. Making contact with your breath and allowing your breath to settle into its own natural rhythm that is yours. The flow of the in-breath and out-breath. Perhaps you can feel or sense the beating of your heart as it slows down and settles, one with the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And so I invite you now to transport yourself, to be transported to a landscape that is somehow deeply familiar, allowing that which arises and unfolds as this landscape, this sacred hallowed ground, to emerge, to find yourself resting upon the earth, seated upon the ground, perhaps dry grasses, temples, a worn stone, allowing the landscape to reveal itself to you, smelling the air, the fragrance of the air, perhaps feeling with your hands or your feet the texture of the earth, the warmth, coolness. And it is daylight, and feeling the sun, the warmth of the sun on your skin, perhaps noticing even what you are wearing or clothed by, cloth, a gown, linen, or bare skin, resting upon the earth of this hallowed, sacred ground. And entering into the field of your embodied presence with all your senses, effortless, easeful, fully relaxed and allowing, letting go any expectation or attachment, allowing yourself to be, even if it is just through a sensing, a feeling tone. And now your eyes begin to adjust as you look to the horizon and see coming toward you a figure. And this figure walking toward you, somehow you know this is your other. This is the sacred other, in whichever form they are embodied through as they walk toward you, coming toward you closer and closer now. Whether you are seeing with your eyes or feeling with your senses, this deep sense of recognition and all the yearning within your body, within your being, within your dreaming. Allow this to fully fill your body, the yearning to know the other, to incorporate the qualities of the other that are the other within the self, and yet held by this one as they walk towards you. And as you rise, extending your hand out as they extend out theirs, in greeting, in embrace, you take one another's hands and feel in this moment the full totality of the otherness within, this union as if a homecoming unto oneself, as every cell of your body merges and yet remains sovereign unto yourself. And allowing yourself to notice, to sense those qualities or energies that the other is gifting you, that you are experiencing union through this offering together, sovereignty in union, receiving fully and noticing with awareness the qualities, the energies that this one carries, that is now becoming one, restored fully within yourself in this moment of divine union. and how through the combined complementariness of your energies, of the gift that each of you carry, of the many gifts that each of you carry, how together as sovereign beings unto yourselves, you are yet made stronger, greater, the unified field of your combined qualities, no longer experienced through separation, but through divine union and incorporation, with such depth of gratitude, as if from the timeless past of all beginnings, from the very seed of first light, in embodied form, spirit, embodied as matter, embodied light, embodied form, oneness, complete divine union. As if one golden flame now, beautiful flame of gold, within and without, arise unto yourself, arise unto yourselves, and know this sovereignty in union, arising on the 13th sun, that is the light of awakening, of the golden age, the star seeds that we each are, initiating pure consciousness in all dimensions, through all time, in this moment of rejoicing, of celebration, and of coming home. Blessed be. And allowing now gently for the experience of the golden flame of sovereignty in union that you are now, to gather back unto yourself, into your heart, as if there is now a tiny golden flame, a star seed, a flower, a bead of gold, a central sun that is the ever-present reminder of this sovereignty in union, that which you are, the field of consciousness, of unified consciousness, and yet sovereign unto yourself, that is fully embodied, seeded, planted, and whole within you now. And knowing that you will live this in perfect alignment with your own sacred journey through this life and through all time. Blessings. So perhaps now just taking a deep breath in again and letting it go as if with a sigh, coming back into your sense of physical self in the room that you are in, whether it is the morning or you are moving into your evening, gently, in gentleness and in beauty. Blessings. And you will carry this forth. It is so. So thank you so much for joining with me on this beautiful oracle moment. And next week is our last session together in relation to the Lioness of Light Oracle Within journey. The 17th, Lioness of Light, Solar Feminine returned. And I can't believe that we're here. It seems extraordinary. And again, I'd like to share with you that I'm now offering one-on-one guidance and insight readings that you can book into or have a little bit more of a look into on my website, zentaimprints.com.au. And there are also audio pods that you can download. The first one is a yoga nidra, very simple spoken yoga nidra, which combines a heart center meditation that you can listen to at any time. And I'd also like to share the very exciting news that I have created for myself a artist proof of the Lioness of Light deck of cards. So I will be using them when I do readings with you. And of course, soon I will hopefully be announcing that the cards will be available widely through being published. But for now, here are the cards. They will be slightly different in color and tone, but these are the first artist proof ones that I have to share with you. So a little bit difficult to see on the screen, I know, but I'm so excited. So here they are. And thank each of you so much for being part of this journey. I know it's not over yet, but it is a significant day today, and with all blessings and gratitude to you, to each of you, and the holding space that we do together, and so much that you gift me, that you have gifted me through this journey, is something that is forever part of me. I can't tell you the significance and the gift that each of you are giving me and have gifted me. So blessings and gratitude. And I look forward to our next session, Lioness of Light Oracle, 17th session next week. Blessings and gratitude.